I'm Lila Bichon, and this is my mom, Dana St. Clair. These
That's
are
me.
all my personal views. We're still down here at beautiful Kealakekua Bay, the big island of Hawaii.
We were going to sit so you could see the bay in the background because it is rather extraordinarily fine, except then you couldn't see us.
We are too dark.
We were pretty dark.
But so I'm here on the island between going from Armenia to Jordan for my job. And we come here and we get to spend time with my wonderful parents. And I want to take advantage of being with my amazing mom to ask her some questions because she's one of my favorite people in the world to talk to.
Does that make me lucky or what?
And she's so funny and brilliant and has such good insights and stories. And so one of the things I wanted to ask was, what's one of your greatest adventures you've ever been on or had? Or you have so many good adventure stories.
I've had good adventures. Truthfully, in this moment, the one that occurs to me happened, I don't know, maybe about 35 years ago. So that would have been
85.
85. Okay, let's say this was between 85 and 90. I'm not exactly sure. And Scott and I were on...
Scott's her husband, my
Scott's my
stepdad.
husband. We're on this trip. We lived in Portland, Oregon at the time. And we went into Washington and Idaho and Wyoming and Montana and Utah in the old Volkswagen van.
Blue Volkswagen van.
And we stopped at different places and I did different meditation workshops because, that's my thing. And
you had set them up in advance?
Indeed.
Oh, wow.
It was quite a circuit.
Yeah, it's like a tour.
Yeah, yes, it was.
Yeah.
We were on tour. And we were in, oh my gosh, now I'm not going to remember, Montana or Wyoming. And we had camped at this campground where our campsite was overlooking this vast valley. Let me see, where... wasn't Yellowstone. I think this was in Wyoming.
And Isaiah and I were...
You must have been with your dad, probably.
I was going to say, where were we?
Yeah. Oh, what'd you do with us? So we had our campsite, and then maybe 4 feet down was this huge flat rock that overlooked this entire valley. And Scott and I had gotten down on this huge flat rock, and he was sitting, meditating, and I was standing behind him, just with my hands on his shoulders, meditating. And a voice in my head said, "Your work is to receive heaven on earth for all of humankind." Okay.
To receive heaven on earth for all of humankind. That's wow.
And so I just took that in. I didn't feel any need to make a bumper sticker or let everybody know that, hey, come this way, heaven on earth. But I have had different experiences. One, I worked at a massage school in Portland, Oregon called East West College. And I was sort of the receptionist. I was the first person you encountered when you came in. And I sat in this bookstore and I ordered for the bookstore, and it was pretty nice. And more than once, some random human would comment, "This feels like heaven on earth." In a bookstore, in a massage school, in downtown Portland, Oregon. And other people, just randomly through my life, have occasionally come up with that phrase on their own as far as interacting with me, or more so the fine, mystical, whatever environment around me. So when they would say that, I would think, well, isn't that cool? I've heard that phrase before.
I wonder you would connect it back to that day.
Oh, I mean, the word phrase was so specific. Heaven on earth. for all of humankind.
And so, what do you what do you think that means then?
My interpretation and what I've done with it all these years is my go-to is always golden light, just opening more to golden light. And I got to tell you, I have as they say in English, penchant or a penchant for being kind, just being kind, compassionate, tolerant. If you're married to anybody, you want to be tolerant.
Or if you have children, you want to be tolerant. Yeah.
And hopefully they'll be tolerant of you.
One of Mom's great advices for parenting was that kids don't mean to be annoying. And she told me this when my oldest kid was a baby, and I'm like, what do you mean? She's so adorable and sweet and not annoying. Now that they're 5 and 8, I get it. And it's something I always remember, like, be tolerant.
Yeah, a lot of adults, parents, think that kids are dragging out the pots and pans for the 5th time today, banging them around, to just get on your last raw nerve. It's not all about you. They're there banging those pots, just kind of figuring things out, how things fit together, what they sound like, what this is.
Or they spill a bowl of soup. I remember I spilled a bowl of soup on the hallway. I was like walking down the hallway and I was going to eat it in front of the TV when I was like 6 or something. And I spilled it and I was so upset because it was messy and I just wanted to like eat it. And you were so kind and you just cleaned it up and you're like, not a big deal. And I remember that bowl of soup. Yeah.
Well, that makes me think Scott and I took care of my parents in their later years as they declined. And my mother could be fussy. She just, many, many times she chose to see the part of life to whine about rather than to revel, enjoy, rejoice. So when we were taking care of them, my dad had a stroke and he was hemiplegic, which is paralyzed on one side. And my mother was definitely, she wasn't slipping, she had slipped into dementia, which interestingly made her kind of easier to live with. She wasn't as immediately picky and whiny. And one day she spilled a glass of milk. And in days gone by, she would have just had a fit about it. She would have been upset that there was a mess to clean up, and she would have been upset with herself. It would have just gone on and on. And this particular day, she spilled the milk. We looked at each other, and my mother said, and I'm going to say it in a Southern accent because she had a Southern accent, well, now, I could laugh or I could cry. And I'm just going to laugh. And I was like, Mama, good choice.
There's a whole saying about that. Don't cry over
spilt milk.
So there you go.
Or spilt soup, I guess.
Soup.
Yeah, there's just cleaning up to do.
But so you were saying, so the heaven on earth
adventure.
Yeah. So
it was in Wyoming.
Wyoming.
I'm remembering that now.
But what were you saying you thought? We got sidetracked. It was like...
What, me? Sidetracked? Off on a tangent? Really?
It was, like something about your perception or how you interpret being alive. Oh, because we're here anyways and we're trucking along and you can either enjoy it.
In front of the other.
Yeah, you can either enjoy it or be annoyed the whole time. You can either cry over spilt milk or laugh over spilt milk.
Well, I have published a book called Holy Wow. There's a long story. We could do a whole other video.
We should.
About how Holy Wow finally,
after 50 years.
Something like that.
50 years. Better late than never.
Came into existence. And now that I've said all that about Holy Wow, what was I going to say about it?
You talk about
do with the spilling milk and feet in front of each other. We'll get back to that.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, thanks.
Hey,
I love you.
We're
Thanks for
very
watching.
lucky.